Before I open the meeting, I would like to let everybody know that, Verlin Twana still passed away. Everybody keep him in their thoughts. He done a lot for this community, and, his children still continue to do that, so. So if everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Closer to you. Closer to you. You can't hear.
But it was two now.
There you go.
Okay, Bobby, if you call roll, please.
Commissioner Nathan Likert,
Here.
Chair Neil Younger,
Present.
Commissioner Michael Burgess.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Order of business, everything has stayed the same, and we will have one executive session.
Yep.
Okay. Prior minutes, everybody have a chance?
Prior minutes look good.
Okay. How about the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve consent agenda items A through G.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Issues from people not on the order of business. Mr. Green?
Yes, go ahead.
First off, I'm a very poor.
Say your name, state your name.
It's
please.
Jerry
Okay.
Green,
Okay, thank you.
just like the color. And as Bill Jeter will attest, I am a very poor speaker, so that's. I'll try to keep this very, very, very short. The most powerful position in Ellis County is the appraiser, and when that power is abused, it is horrific. And 25 to 30 years ago, I faced a situation where I had fought the county for about 4 years, or the appraiser. And what I found was I could not find out where he's cheating. And for 4 years, I kept looking, trying to figure out where the appraiser was cheating. And I was just not smart enough to figure it out. And, every time I go into a hearing, he'd say, well, sure, it was your windows. And then I'd prove that my windows were crap. And or whatever it was, it would just went on and on and on for several years. And what I finally found is by looking at the comparables on the houses, I found that what he was doing is he was changing on a mass level in Ellis County. He was changing the houses from the grade of construction from B, or whatever the house was, to the C, he changed it to a C plus, to a B minus. In my case, what he was doing was he had changed my house from a B to a B plus to an A minus to an A plus. And what that did is made about $100,000 of tax value change. In looking at about 50 different houses over a 5-year period of time, I found about 10% of the houses in Ellis County had been cheated on in the same way. This was the tip of an iceberg. I took this to a state hearing and I won. And I failed. I should have gone to the KBI, and I failed in not doing that. It should have been, the entire county should have been looked at in that, under that light. And I don't know whether it was 10%, I don't know what the number would have been, but it should have been looked at in that fashion. But, I did send a letter to the editor at that time, the Hayes Daily News, and I said that somebody needed to contact the Pope, that there was a miracle ongoing in Ellis County, that materials were getting, as the house got older, materials were getting better and better and better in Ellis County. I did send that letter to the editor of the paper, and I was too busy with work. I should have taken it further, but I did not do that. And again, that's my failure. But what I'm trying to say is that this year, everybody's values have gone up. It's a horrendous time. Oil values have gone down. This has hurt Ellis County in a horrific way, and it makes everybody's taxes higher. So as I came into to talk with the appraiser that's there now, Eugene Rupp. I don't know this guy from Adam, but I've got a chip on my shoulder because I've faced this before, and I knew that the appraiser's office is extraordinarily powerful, and that this power can corrupt. And I went in and met this man 3 times, and I realized that I'm dealing with somebody with incredibly good character and integrity. And I thought, I've been complaining for 30 years about Ellis County and about, the appraiser's office. And I thought that I owed it to Ellis County to say that you guys should back this guy up because you finally got somebody that's got, I'm not saying finally, but this guy is definitely got integrity and character. You can't spend 5 minutes with this guy without knowing that he actually wants the truth. He's not trying to hide something. So anyway, I just thought you guys ought to know that you ought to have his back, and that's all I got to say. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Jerry. Not too often we get that, so thank you, Jerry, for coming and sharing that with us and the whole community, okay? And he's not the only one. We've got a lot of good head departments, so if you ever have to visit with them, you'll get the same results, so. Okay, the monthly departmental report.
I got just a couple of comments on that for the general public to hear. Our noxious weed department's out pretty strong cleaning right-of-ways with tree limbs and such. And then I've seen our EMS is still up around over 10, 11 calls a day. To just make note. And I was with the fire chief yesterday, and they're making more and more calls across county lines. So that does weigh on our services if we're not careful. So I know we've got a good director that manages that properly. Also, I noticed our jail, we're back at pretty much full population again. So we need to keep an eye on that. Sheriff's been watching that, and we're back up at pretty much capacity, I believe. So that's all I had.
No comments from me. Thank you.
Okay. Conservation District presentation, Mr. Jay Harris.
Got to start from the beginning.
I did invite him because he was at the conservation banquet, and there was a lot of people, even my wife didn't know some of the stuff that they do. And Commissioner Liker had mentioned this probably a year ago that, a lot of people don't know what it is, and there's still people. So that's why I was asked for you and to come speak and educate our.
Good. Thank you for inviting me today. So my name is Jay Harris. I'm the district director with Cottonwood Extension District with Kansas State University. The Cottonwood Extension District is Ellis and Barton County. And there will be a test after this, so be sure to take good notes.
Going?
No. So extension is more than you expect. So does anybody recognize who this guy is? What TV show this was? Okay. Yeah, it's not working.
Yeah, I think you keep moving it off the.
Anybody recognizing yet?
Oh, yeah.
Keep going with it. So this is Hank Kimball, the extension agent on Green Acres, played by actor Albie Moore. So sometimes this is what people think extension agents are. If you ever watched Green Acres and what Hank Kimball was, this is the only recording I can ever find of any TV show or movie that actually has an extension agent in it. So, so again, more than, so when I mention extension, the first thing a lot of people think is agriculture, right? We help the farmers a lot. 4-H is the other big one that most people think when you hear cooperative extension. But we also do a lot with home and gardens, and we also have a lot of community education and outreach. So a lot of things that we're doing in the community. So a little background how the Cooperative Extension Service started. So Morale Act was the first section of this. It was signed into, let me go back a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me, not sure why that thing is down there.
So the Morrill Act in 1862 is what created the land-grant universities. And Kansas State University was the first land-grant university founded in 1863. The Morrill Act was signed in 1862 by President Lincoln. What was going on in 1862? Civil War. So even during all the Civil War, he found time to put into effect the Morrill Act, which started the land-grant universities. So Kansas State was founded in 1858 as Bluemont Central College. Then 1862 or 1863, because of the Morrill Act, the name then changed to Kansas State Agricultural College. And then 1931 changed the name to the Kansas State College of Ag and Applied Science. And then 1959 officially became Kansas State University. So hasn't always been Kansas State University. It took some time to get to that. And then the Hatch Act was passed in 1887, and this is what started the Kansas Experiment Stations, which here in Hayes, we have the experiment station south of town. And the purpose of this was to support scientific research to improve agriculture. So then this Hatch Act, it gave this federal funding for these experiment stations to research crops, soils, livestock, and so much more. Definite benefit to the farmers and ranchers. Okay. And then the Smith-Lever Act of 1914, this is where cooperative extension actually started. So this was a partnership between the USDA, the land-grant universities, and local governments such as county commissioners. So the outcome was now we have a local extension office in every county in the state of Kansas. So there are 105. The first extension employee in Kansas was Miss Ellen Batchelor. She was hired as the first home demonstration agent in Wyandotte County in 1917. Do any of you remember possibly parents, grandparents being in extension homemakers? I remember when I was a kid, my grandma was in it, and every once a week, all the ladies in the area would come out and they would do something to do with cooking or sewing. And that is actually one of the first, these home demonstration units were one of the first meetings of other people than farmers. So the word extension means extending the university out to the people. So we are taking information, research-based information going on at K-State, and we're taking that out to the people. Knowing something isn't enough. You also have to help people use that knowledge. So that's the other thing we're doing. And that's what we call cooperative extension. K-State does the research, we deliver it locally, and we help real people solve problems. So why do we need extension if we have Google, right? You can go on and you can search something. So here's an example of, if you were to search, can you remember what I had on there? Bagworms. You just search bagworms. This is what you're going to get pop up in Google. But if you go to K-State, this is what you're going to get. It's a publication that's geared a lot closer to what happens in Kansas with bagworms. So a lot more detailed information, gives you information on how to treat them, and it's been researched many, many times to figure out how to do this. So the other one that is one of my favorite stories about extension. So in the early 20th century, a lot of people were doing home canning, but there were also a lot of people getting sick because of the bacteria that was growing in there. So they were getting botulism, and they finally figured out it was because they were improperly canning the foods. So cooperative extension started teaching the public safe canning and saved a lot of lives just with this one thing here. And then during World War II, there was a need for this food preservation that increased. And so Cooperative Extension worked with that. They also promoted the Victory Gardens to help people have this food source. So another good benefit of Cooperative Extension. And then we still offer these resources today. We still give canning classes. We still do home gardening. So a lot of that still plays true today. One of the other programs, more recent programs, is SHIC. So SHIC stands for Senior Health Insurance Counseling in Kansas. It's Part D Medicare open enrollment. So we have people come into our office and we go through their Part D. So in 2024, there were across the state of Kansas, we had 6,815 comparisons. 4,351 of those people changed their plans, which saved in the state of Kansas $7.3 million, about an average of $1,674. That money then is reinvested back into the Kansas communities. They're not having to spend that money on their drug coverage. So in the last 12 years, we've done 86,000 comparisons, which is $54 million. In the Cottonwood District in 2025, we had 91 appointments in Ellis County, 66 appointments in Barton County, saved a little over $200,000 total, or about $1,380 per person. My mother-in-law alone was one of these people that did this. In her drug plan, she saved over $10,000 because one of the pharmacies she was using went out of program or whatever they call it, you know, and her savings was over $10,000. If she wouldn't have done anything and she would have missed the sign up, it would have cost her $10,000 more. And at 82 years old with dementia, she had no way to do this on her own. And so the Cottonwood District, like I said, there is Ellis and Barton County. So in Kansas, we have 21 different districts. Some of the local units are still counties. They haven't become a district, but we still have extension agents in every county in Kansas. Even though you're in a district, you're just splitting out the roles of your agents somewhat. I think, Nathan, you were involved when
Yes.
Cottonwood became a district, and it's been very beneficial to us and to help the people in this area. So our staff, we have 2 office professionals, Teresa Mice and Brenda Walton. We have a program assistant, Karis Manning, so she helps all the agents prepare for programs. We have a horticulture program assistant, Miranda Houston. And then we have our Rural Ag community health worker, Carissa Frazier. Now, this community health worker is a new program that we've started. A lot of times somebody in the community might, you know, be admitted to emergency room, they dismiss them, and then sometimes there's no follow-up. And so that's what Carissa helps with, is getting these people to their appointments. We have 2 ag agents. Stacy Campbell is here in Ellis County, Alicia Bohr is in Barton County. I just have listed here some of the different programs and activities that they're doing, all sorts of different field days, things dealing with crops, livestock, and then also helping 4-H'ers with their projects. And then Family and Community Wellness, Monique Kerner and Michelle Barron. One of the really big ones that they do is the Becoming a Mom. It's a prenatal education series where young mothers can learn what's, you know, going to happen and everything that's going to go on as that baby matures. Walk Kansas is getting ready to start. So this is where you get together a team. You go out and walk miles, you log those miles onto our website. It also tracks how much fluids you drink, how much fruit and vegetables you eat. And it's self-reporting. You do it on your own, but it's a competition between these teams. And you basically, it shows a map of you walking across Kansas as you do this. We also have a community baby shower that's going to be coming up pretty soon. Our 4-H agents, Tamara Robertson here in Ellis County, Ben Sims in Barton County. We have all the community clubs, and then we have all the different project areas. If you have a youth that is interested in almost anything, there is a project that covers what they're interested in doing. We go into the schools with the JAG program, which is Jobs for America's Graduates. And I also help with YEC, which is the Youth Entrepreneurship Challenge. And then for the little kids, we have the Clover Buds. And I enjoy working with the Clover Buds too. The last couple of years at the fairs, I've been the one that judges their projects. A lot of times they just bring something in they've been working on. Here in Hayes, 2 years ago, 7-year-old little guy comes walking up there with his Lego that he had built, and he drops it before he gets to the table. So we spent 30 minutes putting it back together, so it was a lot of fun. And then myself, along with being the director, I also work with horticulture and community vitality. The different programs that I'm working with are listed there, so. In Great Bend, I've started a new innovation center. It's a lot like the Bob and Patch Met Community Center here. We'll be doing a lot of different things down there with them. So some of the different programs, Stay Strong, Stay Healthy. This is a program where they come into our office and work out. Most of the time, these are elderly people. We have a group of ladies that come in twice a week. Even though we're not having the program right now, they still want to use our back room to come in and exercise. A lot of it's social as much as exercise, but they've been doing this on their own for 2 years now. There's one lady that comes in that the doctors had told her she needed to have back surgery. She came and did this class and she didn't have to have surgery. So the other one is the Walk Kansas that I was talking about, which will be starting up here in March. So it's just a way to be more active, healthier, and learn different techniques to reduce stress. Right now going on, we have the hypertension awareness and prevention program. So people sign up for this, they get a free blood pressure monitor for signing up for this. They come in once a week and meet with Monique or Michelle to talk about their high blood pressure. And then there's group presentations that are done 4 times throughout this springtime. There is a prescribed burn meeting next week out here at the Ag Research Center, so hopefully they're not out burning today, but come in and learn how to do this properly. We have our Ellis County 4-H Club Day on March 1st. This is where 4-H members come in and give presentations on their projects. Regional 4-H Club Day in Great Bend on March 13th. And then Super Saturday is hosted out here at Fort Hayes. We help with that. It's all sorts of different judging events, livestock, crops, weeds, even some of the home ec. And then the Barton County Fair is June 24th through the 28th. And the Ellis County Fair is July 12th through the 18th. Now, we don't run the fair. That's the fair board, but we work with the 4-H'ers during that fair time. So the Common District, we're dedicated to improving the quality of life through community outreach, educational program, partnerships and events. We partner with a lot of different people in those 2 counties. We support local fairs, school enrichment, producer consultations, and lifelong learning. That's the big thing, is the lifelong learning. So Extension isn't a building. It's not a program. It's a relationship. It's neighbors helping neighbors. We translate research into solutions. We listen. We adapt. We don't sell anything. We don't represent any companies or one product. We represent science, community, and Kansas values. That's what Extension's all about. There is our website. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Well, I don't have any questions. I just want to make a couple of comments. I appreciate what you and the extension does. I've spent a lot of time on the board helping build that and get it where it's at. So I appreciate all those board members that do that. One thing that people may not know, especially for our ag community, it says a lot when you are part of extension or go to these extension events. Your lenders like to see ongoing education.
Right.
So it's something that you may think is very trivial, but it shows a lot at a different time.
And I think the other thing that's really big with our ag right now is our succession planning series that we do. You know, a lot of farmers that are aging, and we work with them on how to, do their planning for succession to the next generation.
Yep.
I thank you for coming in and again, giving an update on the programs. I always kind of forget, especially the health programs that your extension puts out there for the community at large, not just the rural areas, but, community of Hayes, and they can participate in canning and walking and those kind of things. And
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you still do the young adults if they want to be babysitters. You still offer that
Yeah,
class.
We have the babysitting clinic,
Good.
teaches, how to do babysitting, and
Okay.
we've done a lot of work even in Ellis County with our childcare. We're part of the childcare task force. So we're involved in a lot of different things.
One of the things when I was with Extension that everybody made comment to was it was one of the best kept secrets in Kansas. And it really is, and it's an unfortunate proposition, but it's one of those things. They don't go out, and there hasn't been a lot of publicity because they are just middle of the road, science based, and so there's not a lot of news breaking or groundbreaking areas. So
That is one thing I'm working to change, is to not be that secret one.
okay,
We want to be out in the public.
well, very good. Thank you.
Again,
Thank you,
thanks, Jay.
Thank you. Sorry about that. That's okay. No problem. You did a good job. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, Recovery Court, Grant, Mike. Mike and company.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mike Smith, District Court, Court Administrator. I did bring company. I brought Chief Judge Curtis Brown and our Recovery Court Coordinator, Teresa Greenwood. I'm gonna just turn it over to them because this is really their award that they received. Teresa put a lot of work into this. I want to recognize her for a lot of her hard work. Got a lot of good news today already, so thought we'd just keep going with that.
Good deal.
Good.
Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning.
We're here just to inform you that our recovery court did receive a little over $25,000.
Did you state your name? So,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Curtis Brown.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So yeah, we're just been awarded over a little over $25,000 from the state for our recovery court program. Was originally drug court. We changed it to recovery court now. So the Kansas legislature opened up some funding last year to fund specialty courts around the state. And so the Office of Judicial Administration put together a committee then to kind of solicit funding requests from specialty courts around the state. And even though our court is primarily funded by a federal grant, and we still have some seed money from this commission that helps start our drug court recovery court program. There's still some programs, some incentives that weren't covered by our federal grant that we want to go see if we can get that extra funding for to provide. And so we put in a request, and when I say we, I mean that loosely. Our coordinator, did the work. She's the one that put that all together, put the details into it, and then they had to go through a committee. The committee approved our request to fund our full request. So I'll go turn over to Chief Greenwood. She can explain some details.
Thank you. Teresa Greenwood, I'm the recovery court coordinator. This request will fund training for our intensive supervision officers, a 3-day training in Oklahoma City that is put on by the National Association. That's over specialty courts. We also requested funding to fund the RePath app for 1 year for community corrections for our recovery court participants. We've used it already for a year and have been very pleased with it. So we have funded another year of that. We will fund some incentives for our participants. National standards are that these small rewards for participants just encourage that continued success. So we're going to fund some incentives. We're also going to fund some fuel vouchers for our participants that have vehicles but may need assistance with fueling up and getting to all their appointments. And the Last thing that this funding will fund is a new behavior therapy group for women participants. We've identified a need, especially for our female participants, and so this will be ran by our therapist that we are with through High Plains for recovery court participants. So we are actually served on the Specialty Court Funding Committee at Topeka. And what we are hoping to do is there's gonna be an additional solicitation statewide here next month. And then we're hoping that the legislature continues to fund these requests each year. So we're hoping that this statewide will be an ongoing funding opportunity. And of course, I'd love for Ellis County to continue with that as well. So we did receive our full ask on our application. So thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you.
And just a plug, if any, I know you all are very busy, but if you have a chance to come, I know, we've seen a few of you in there for our graduations. It really is a pretty neat event, seeing somebody that's gone through that program and made the changes in their lives, just as a better citizen in our community afterwards. So if you do get a chance and want to attend, they really are quite a moving event. So.
You have one this week, don't you? The graduation on.
We
Yes.
do, yes. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be there. I think, Glenn Brown, senior judge, he's a senior judge now, so I've got a jury trial, so he's gonna take over. But we do have one. So yeah, if you
Okay.
have time, I know you're all busy, like I said, but, it's really, really moving.
And I like the thing that you said, it is we, it takes all of you. And, you know, Judge Brown, you're doing good because you get to distribute some of this too to help. And, yeah. And Teresa, thank you for all you do and all of you guys do and that will make what, number 73, I believe?
73, I believe.
Yep. So that's awesome. That's another life saved in our community.
Great. Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you for the
Thank you.
update.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations on the grant as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, the opioid settlement fund request by Mike. You didn't get away.
Mike Smith, District Court Administrator. We had an opioid fund request. The Ellis County Sheriff's Office is wanting to send 3 officers to the Kansas Narcotics Officers Association Annual Conference. This conference happens March 30th to April 2nd in Wichita. They're asking for $750 in registration fees for all three individuals. And then they're also asking for motel expenses for these individuals. Total request for funds is $1,829.29, recognizing that motels may fluctuate a little bit on their fees. So I'd ask for a little bit of flexibility there if they go over, but that's at the government rate of $110 a night plus their some of the fees that are on here are the occupancy fees and tax. Well, they won't have tax, but they will have some federal tax, I believe, that they have to pay on those. Sheriff's Office was going to use their vehicles, so there won't be any need for mileage or per diem, I don't believe. So that is the total request, $1,829 in opioid funds. I think we that is kind of what these opioid funds are used for, or if they wanted them to be used for training for this type of thing. I think this probably fits in as good or better than any requests that we've had for opioid funds. So I'd recommend that we grant this request to the Sheriff's Department to use for training.
Okay. Now, these are actual sheriffs, are these deputies that are going, or?
Yes.
I see our sheriffs in the audience here, so I'll let him.
Yeah, he put on here what is for. Go ahead.
These ones here, Scott Brown, Ellis County Sheriff.
Thank you.
So, I was trying to hide back. These are, Lieutenant Brenning, Deputy Dixon and Deputy Reese. They're assigned to our Ellis County Drug Enforcement Unit. So this is what they do in addition to their regular duties. So they would benefit from this type of training. So
Okay.
Will this be a yearly thing then, possibly?
it could be.
Okay.
We go every year to this type of training because things change and those types of things. So yes, so you might see them back next year also.
Okay. Very good.
Very good. Well, I'll move to approve the use of opioid funds in the total amount of $1,829 or $828.29 to send 3 individuals from the sheriff's office to the Kansas Narcotics Officers Association yearly conference. And I guess we could adjust the amount to about that number. So that way we have some flexibility there.
It should be close, but sometimes the.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved.
Thank you,
Thanks.
guys.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, Health Department.
Ooh.
Melissa Miller is not
Not
here.
here today.
Okay. All right, we'll go to the 2026 road tour. Darren?
Darren Myers, County Administrator. Don't have to be so close to the mic anymore.
No, it's a little adjustment.
As the commission knows, every year, usually in April, at least last couple of years, there's been 5 Tuesdays in which you usually pick the 4th or the 5th Tuesday to do a road tour. And this year in April, there's only 4 Tuesdays, but there's 5 Tuesdays in March. So we're asking to see if the Tuesday, March 31st would be open with the commission to schedule the road tour. And if so, then the Public Works can reserve the vehicle, and then we can make the special meeting notice for that day. And then the final thing that we would ask is if there's locations that you would like to see beyond what the Public Works Department is planning to put on the tour, that you let me know and we get them put on the list for places to go visit.
31st works for me, but I guess I'd request it go a little later. It'd be like 9:30 or 10 before we start. I do have a meeting that morning.
That's fine with me.
I'm good with that. So around 9:30ish or give and take, okay?
And then I'll send an email out to each commissioner to ask if you have any locations of roads or bridges or issues out in the county that you would like to be addressed on the tour. You can send me an email back so that way Brendan can prepare a route and mix it in with what they want to share with the commission as well.
There, about that, on just kind of tangent to this, I'd like an update on, in our work session, we discussed right-of-way issues and putting together kind of a task force or committee to kind of start chunking that out for us. Can you give us an update on
So-
what progress we've made in the last month getting that kind of put together?
So Mike Freeman, our project manager out at Public Works, is here today. We met for a little bit yesterday just to prepare him on his first speech to the commission, but he'll have an update on where they're at and kind of what they're looking at.
I would say Mike Freeman, project manager. Kind of a 10,000 foot view where we're at. I actually went and spoke with Eugene last week, and we kind of talked about how we should work this together and trying to figure out who else is going to be involved, that type of stuff. We're still working on that piece, but what we kind of came to a conclusion on was, I think it's an ideal situation to, one, kind of systematically know how we want to attack it, that type of stuff. So we decided that maybe the best approach would be, and for a few reasons that I'll explain, to start with townships and start with Township 11, which is basically the north end of the map all the way across. Systematically work our way down, and then by September, and I'll explain that piece, we'd like to come back with us having completed Township 11 with looking into all the different things with right of way, how it may affect things, how it doesn't affect things, and maybe even some suggestions on maybe some possible solutions. The reason that we're suggesting that far out is there's a few things that are going on besides this. I don't want to speak to Eugene and everything that he has going on, but I know that this next month, month and a half is a really busy time of year for them. They kind of need all hands on deck type of deal. That particular section of the map probably is not going to involve them a ton, which that works for them. So we can still work forward, you know, on my side of it. The other reason suggesting that it'd be like September, we do have other things that we're trying to tackle right now in the public works. One of the big things is we're in the middle of trying to convert over to our asset management program. That's a one umbrella, all encompassing. There's a lot to that, you know, anything from beginning process to getting it implemented, to testing it, to training it, to be in go live. And the go live is projected to be the first part of October. So between that and CPM classes and we've got asphalt season, which is pretty much all hands on deck as well. We believe that, you know, September would be a reasonable time to execute everything else that we want to get done, but still give enough time to be able to do that and be towards the end of some of that other stuff. So it's not all, you know, right on top of each other. And I would be happy to answer any other questions you might have. But that's kind of an overview of what we talked about. And it made sense that if we're both looking at right away, to do it together.
Okay. So at September, you would come back with kind of some proposal. You're going to be working on this throughout. You're not going to
Yeah.
just start in September. Okay.
No. That between now and then would be when we try to do is get all the investigation done, see what's out there, exactly what we're dealing with, and then come up with what we feel are maybe some good solutions
Okay.
to address some of those things. And hopefully, you know, on the other side of that, by us doing it systematically like this, it allows the public to know, okay, what section of the county they're working in, you know, so then they can kind of have a heads up of where we're looking at and you know, what we're working on.
Okay. I think that's fair. I think that shows a good direction. So,
I was going to ask that question because I've had several people. Yes, we put out a public service notice that we're working here, just like we do on our pulling our shoulders a bridge. If that could be put on the map so they can see, because some of them are, you know, 2,000 block or whatever. They're going, where's that? So
Right.
that'll be a nice tool for our community to have.
Right.
So.
Well, and just for public purposes, if we're not super familiar with how the townships lay out, there's actually 5 of them. They go across the entire county. I believe the first township that we would be looking at actually is from the North County line down to Homestead, I believe. That's the first section. That's Township 11.
okay.
And it was stated that we are also talking with Saline County, kind of to what their pluses and minuses are, because they are already in this.
I think we're talking two different things
Okay.
Oh,
now.
yeah, the EAM system.
Okay,
yes,
I'm
we
sorry.
We are
Yeah,
communicating
okay.
with Saline County because they are using the same system. We're going to have a more updated system.
Oh, okay.
So the actual operations of it and how it navigates is slightly different, but the concept is very,
Okay.
very similar. And our plan is to use it in more in-depth way than what they do. So,
Which is,
well, they, just like most counties, have kind of picked and chose how much each individual department within the department uses the software, and our intent is to be as much all under one umbrella, everybody's using the system, so it all communicates well together and everything, you know, ties all together, so it's easier to research, it's easier to communicate, you know, all of those things. So our intent is to use it as close to the fullest potential as the system as possible, where a lot of counties don't do that.
Very good.
Well, thank you for giving us an update. This is kind of on my mind. It's been a month since our work session, and this is one of those topics I don't want us to, you know, a year from now being like, oh, what did we do about that? So I'm glad that you've taken some initial steps, gotten hold of Eugene. I thought that was good. I knew he'd be a part of this, so thank you for the update and let us know where we're at in that process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just as a reminder, some of the key things that Mike will be working with them on is roads that we are maintaining, that we don't necessarily have right of way, and present that back to the commission, and then possibly roads that we are maintaining that we don't have enough right of way to maintain them properly, or roads that we aren't maintaining that could be vacated. And then another section is county property in those areas that we could dispose of. And then the fourth piece of it are tracts, developments, parcels that have been platted out for sometimes, I think, decades, that by statute they can be basically abandoned or vacated as well and gone back. So those are the key issues that they'll be focusing on through that process.
Okay.
Okay. Property protection classification changes, Mr. Darren.
As the commission knows, the fire department went through a ISO rating in 2025, and we've had the results back for a little bit, and it's just taken a little bit of time to get them out into the public. And so today is kind of just that news update of what that actually means. So the fire department goes through an evaluation. It's usually about every 5 years. However, this time we pushed it off a little bit longer due to the city of Hayes building their new fire station out on West 41st, and that impacts both the city of Hayes and the Ellis County Fire Department differently, because we do respond to structure fires through automatic aid, which means no matter if the building across the street catches on fire, the county fire department still responds. However, for the Ellis County Public Works facility out north of town, it's within a certain district, they respond out to there. And then this also includes the communities of Catherine, Munger, Victoria, and Ellis, and Shinshin as well, because they all have fire stations out there. And some of the things that that we get evaluated on are through the agenda item here. I won't go through them. It's not just the fire department that gets evaluated, so I wanted to share a little bit more kudos outside of what the fire department does. But whether it's in Hayes, Ellis, Victoria, Shinshin, Catherine, Munger, they all have water districts have water hydrants. They have to be inspected annually, pump tested. Their pumps have to be tested. The hydrants have to be painted and flow tested every year, which the fire department does that, and all those. So those water departments, no matter which community they're in, they do an excellent job. Even the development and planning of when and where fire hydrants go in play an impact to this rating. Another section of the evaluation process is our dispatch center. If you scroll through and you looked at the end, which I can get to here in a bit, 10 of the essentially 100 points of the evaluation go to our dispatch center. And I know the commission is aware of the different upgrades we do, because you see the price tag on the amounts that we spend down there. It's all technology, it's all computer based, it's very expensive, but it is very appropriate, and it's meeting the standards that's set forth not by here in Ellis County, but national standards that they build to. And as you see, out of those 10 points, they got 9.88. That's next to perfect for what we're doing in our dispatch center. That goes to the type of equipment that we have, the maintenance that we upkeep on them, the amount of redundancy from generators to battery backups, to protocol software that if you call 911, they go through a list of questions, they prioritize the call and give the responders the appropriate information, allowing them to dispatch the appropriate resources needed. So they do an excellent job there. And then the final biggest piece is the fire department themselves. Itself. It's not just the firefighters, but it's the equipment, it's the station placement, it's the deployment analysis, it's the standard operating procedures. It's not just the fire truck itself. It's the type of pump, it's the type of water, it's the type of equipment, the tools that are on them. And then it goes into the amount of training. We average on a structure fire, I put in here, it's over 30 firefighters on a structure call. Those types of incidents are really the only incidents that they look at because they're focusing on structure fires. They don't necessarily care about grass fires. Not that they don't care, but that's not what their reporting is based on, because a lot of this goes back to insurance companies, and the better the fire department is rated, essentially the better insurance premiums you're going to get. So they look at all this. If you have a lot of firefighters responding, you're going to have better success of putting out a fire. If you have the appropriate type of tools, equipment, protective gear, and properly trained firefighters that respond in a decent amount of time, that all plays into account to becoming a better score. I put some statistics in here. That's not really that it's not obtainable for the firefighters, but I think what's key to point out is through the 97 firefighters that we have in Ellis County, they are paid per call. So we're not paying them on a daily rate to train, but almost every day last year, 320 different times, they have some type of training event that they're doing throughout the county, whether it's monthly training, extra training. And it's not just simple training that they have to do. They have to log a certain amount of hours for driver training, certain amount of hours for hazmat, certain amount for company, which is fire training, administrative training with their officers. EMS and rescue hours, those don't count towards that. But essentially, they would need hundreds of hours, and that's easy for a full-time department where they're there on a full-time schedule doing. So our firefighters do commit. Last year was almost 10,300 hours of training time. And what that equates to essentially is for where they broke it down for last year, for every 1 hour that they were out on incident, they put in almost 2 hours of training per person. And I like to give the kudos to them because all that plays into this, and the cards are stacked against them. If you have a fire department that is a full-time fire department, they get 1-for-1 credit. So one firefighter would equal 300 hours. Well, for us, and for a fire engine, you need 4 firefighters to be on it, 4 full-time that are at a fire station waiting to respond. For us, we only get a third of credit. So for us to have 1 fire engine, it actually needs 12 paid per call firefighters to get full credit for the amount of personnel that will be on that truck. So if you think about that, 1 to 3, now you also not just have the 4 firefighters that need 300 hours a year, you have 12 firefighters that need 300 hours a year. So like I say, the cards are really stacked against them. It's hard for fire departments like the county fire department to meet those types of standards unless they are just, training multiple times a week throughout the year to log all those different types of training hours. And it's not just the type of training, it's where they train. They can't just be at the station. They have to have facility trainings for live fireboxes and skills trainings that you can't get in a simulator or watch on TV or on a webinar type training program. So I could talk about this for a long time, so I'm gonna keep moving on because I don't get to talk about the great jobs that they do very often. But for the public, I think what that means is we have some improved fire ratings throughout the county. And I put a chart in here in the areas of Catherine, the city of Victoria, the city or the area around Munger and Shinshin as well. They all have significant fire rating improvements. Basically, before this survey, Munger, Shinshin, and Catherine didn't have recognized fire hydrants. We got them recognized, and we got them moving from a class 9 all the way down to a class 4. Which is going to be significant rating improve or fire insurance savings to the community One of the firefighters that lives out in Munger on his 2 properties, he got a refund check of $900 last year for those improvements, and that's just on 2 properties. If you look at the hundreds of homes around there, and then you share that those add up to show that the investment that we put into the county fire department pays back to those residents. What's really neat is the city of Victoria. They went from inside the city, in the city of Victoria and Ellis County Company 4, same department, same location. They house their 2 fire trucks in the county fire station, but they're a class 3. The city of Hayes Fire Department is a class 2. They do an excellent job over there. They have good record keeping. We do assist them quite a bit, but I'm not going to take credit for the actions that they do, the amount of training that they do, and ensure that they can do the best as another paid per call fire department within the city, that they're a class 3. I wish I could tell you how many other paid per call class 3 fire departments there are in the state of Kansas, but there is a graph in here. If you do look, there's only at the top 70 departments of about 700 to 800 fire departments in the state of Kansas, there's only 40 class 3 fire departments. And that's pretty amazing for, like I say, for what they do over there in Victoria. But for the general public, if the commission does talk to anybody in the community about this, there are maps in here, as you can see, like the Catherine there. I know these aren't the best maps. These are taken right off the mitigation website. But the city of Catherine, or the unincorporated area of Catherine, I should say, that bubble around there, anybody that lives within that bubble, not just in Catherine or around it, their rating went all the way from a class 9 to a class 4. So not all insurance companies base their ratings off ISO scores, but there are some that does. And I'm not saying that anybody needs to go out and relook at their insurance company if they have any rate increases, but if they do live in those areas of Catherine, Munger, they are going from that. Shinshin moved from a class 6 to a class 4. We had their water supply rated, but due to a change in the evaluation process, we got them switched from a 6 down to a 4 as well. And then any other time that if we have any hydrants placed in the unincorporated parts of the county, say the Trio County Water District wants to put a hydrant at 250th and Buckeye for whatever reason, as long as we inspect it, flow test it, and send the GPS locations in, we can have bubbles like this all over the entire county. If that would be the case, obviously those are not up to us, but if those are ever allowed into the future, those would have also impacts for those areas 1,000 foot around a fire hydrant. But it's also a bigger impact just for the public out in those areas as well, because a fire hydrant 10 miles north of town is going to be a lot easier to access water out of a public water line than pumping or drafting out of a pond or river or stream, etc. So like I said, I can talk for a while on this, but the key takeaway for the community is that the cities of Victoria, Munger, Shinshin, and Catherine are going to have different rates on their insurance premiums if they want to check in on that. And then the last thing to, like I say, for the work that they do is some statistics that's pulled off right on the website. If you look at the different ratings for the 2 different ratings that we have, class 4 and a class 5, what that means is any area that's within 1,000 foot from a fire hydrant is a class 4, and anything up to 5 miles from a Ellis County Fire Department station is a class 5. But if you look at those ratings, they give us tens of thousands of fire departments across the nation. Just the fire department points, our fire department ranks above the peer level combination departments throughout the nation, the state, and then our peer groups as well. So like I said, give a lot of kudos to the work that they do, but this also comes back to the commission for your support that you give us to make sure that we have the proper fire trucks and the equipment and the funding to get them out and do the training and the tools that they need to do the job. So I will stop with that and answer any questions if you have any.
So just for reference, the lower the score, the better.
Correct. Class 1 is the best
Okay.
score you can get. Class 10 is essentially no recognized fire protection. And we do have that all over the county because to get anything other than that, you're going to have a fire station about every 5 miles throughout the 900 square miles. So that way they could have a recognized fire department. That's the other interesting thing. You can put the station, but then you have to put the engine, and then you have to put 13 or 12 firefighters that staff it all the time on every structure fire. So more equipment isn't always the answer because you can put a new fire engine in if it doesn't respond, or if you don't have the 4 firefighters full time or the 12 paid for calls, you're gonna get hit and get points reduced on the other side.
Okay.
I guess the only thing I have, can we put a PSA out? Because everybody's on social media for these little communities to at least ask their insurance companies. Is that something we should do possibly?
That was my next plan after the
Oh,
announcement
okay.
here is to create we did that a couple years ago. This is the second time we've had rating or better increased rates for the property protection classification. The last time was through the years of 2017 and 18 where our rates or classification changes were in a better light. So this would do the exact same thing and put out another PSA as well.
Okay.
Any idea, Darren, on response time, like on a fire? And I guess it depends on where it's at and how fast everybody, what's just an average?
So that was one thing I should have shared with you earlier. I do put those statistics out every month on our monthly report. And we didn't have a monthly report this month because we switched over. We used to use a system, national system was NINFR's National Fire Incident Reporting System, and it switched over to what is called NERS, which is a whole new platform. And we're trying to get our records management system to sync and link up together to show the proper statistics. So I didn't want to create a monthly report with hardly any information because until it's accurate, I don't want to put it together because it essentially could be false or wrong information. But our county fire department averages on every single call that they respond to, no matter where it's at in the county, just over a 2-minute response time. So that basically is by the time they get the page, there's somebody in the county that's responding to an emergency incident, whether it's a car accident, structure fire, grass fire, hazmat, medical call that we do respond to. And then I think for the entire year, you can probably get within a couple seconds here, but I think it was 9 minutes and 54-second response time on average to all the calls in the county, no matter where it was at.
Again, kudos to all those that take that away from their everyday life and go help our community out. And every minute counts.
Mm-hmm.
Very good thing.
Thank you, Darren.
Okay, county administrator report.
I have none today.
Okay. County commissioner report.
The only one I have is attended the Fireman's Ball on Saturday night and wanted to give a hat tip to the Company 8 and Company 9 for putting on another great function. So it was very good.
I don't have much, but that was kind of an all good news commission meeting today. The only thing I participated in as a board member from the county for the Kansas Workforce One. We had a virtual board meeting last Thursday, kind of going through a strategic planning. We've absorbed almost all of the state now, outside of the large counties like Sedgwick and Johnson County have their own Workforce One, but now Workforce One is essentially the rest of everybody else. So we're going through a strategic planning on how to get that all put together. So
Wow.
that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Only thing I went and attended was the Heartland Foundation matching funds. I did briefly see Mr. Jeter there a little bit. There was a lot of people there. Like Sarah puts it, if you can put $5, $10, whatever amount, and DG Hansen will match that. Now's the time to do it. They do a lot of good things. With this deal with the fire thing, they were going to actually help us out in Munger to place some more fire hydrants. But now that that's done, but they at least offered. So they're out to help all all the people. So that's all I have. Okay, and then we do
Okay.
have one executive session.
Yes, at this time, I move the Board of County Commissioners recess to executive session for 5 minutes under the following exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act pursuant to current attorney-client privilege exception. Subject to be discussed during the executive session is pending litigation. Open session will resume at 9:40 in the commission chambers. Those in attendance, in addition to the Board of County Commissioners, are Bill Jeter and Darren Myers.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved.
least we didn't run over.
Not yet.
Right?
There you go.
Okay, open session resumes at 9:40. We will reconvene an executive session for an additional 5 minutes with open session resuming at 9:45.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. carried. Meeting adjourned at 9:49.
I want